Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we have a very exciting guest. Mathew, can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and what you're going to be doing for us today?
Hello, my Pisces angel. My name is Mathew. I am with Water Alchemy. I'm a tarot reader and astrologer, life coach, health coach, all the good things just to help you level up and heal mind, body, and soul. And I'm based in Toronto. That's where Camille and I met.
Yes, so Mathew and I actually met at an acting class, and it
Oh,
was
actually, that's like 1 year ago now, right? Like exactly 1 year ago, basically.
true. I didn't even think of that, which makes so much sense, like why we felt drawn to each other again right now,
Yeah.
because it's been exactly 1 year since we met. So the crazy story is Mathew and I were in the same acting class, but I was really nervous in the class and I never talked to anybody. So we didn't get to know each other at all. We were probably 2 or 3 weeks into the class and we still hadn't spoken. And then one day I was in a car and I was driving down the street and we were stopped at a stoplight, and then Mathew crosses the crosswalk in front of us, and I'm looking and I'm like, this guy is in my acting class. And I just freaked out because I'm like, oh my God, he's crossing my path. Like, he's meant to be in my life. He's literally on my path right now. And I didn't know that Mathew was into anything spiritual or spooky, but I didn't even care. The very next class, the second I saw him, I ran up to him and I was like, oh my God, I saw you crossing the street in front of me and I know we're meant to be friends, and you were vibing with it instantly. And then I'm like, see, this was 100% meant to be. So that's the story of
Always.
how we met and how we got to know each other. And then since then, I've helped you with some self-tapes and we worked together on some acting stuff. And just in general, like, I always feel like you're there for me and I'm there for you, even if we don't
Always.
get to see each other. I just
Yeah.
always feel like we're like on the same wavelength, on the same energy, which is just
Like same vibe. You're a Pisces, I'm a
yeah,
Scorpio, like water signs, all about the intuition, spiritual goodies. Like it's just a match made in heaven.
exactly. So we're always vibing. So today what we're doing is a tarot card reading. This was Mathew's idea and I'm super excited. For anyone who doesn't know what a tarot card is or what a tarot card reading is, how would you explain it to them?
Tarot cards have been around literally for centuries, like for so long as an esoteric tool to help you predict the future. Again, a lot of people think it's like spooky, like Satan's magic, dark magic, but there's so much like Christian influences and like positive symbolism within each card. And for me, I always explain it as an energetic snapshot of where you currently are at. So I don't like giving readings when people are anxious or nervous or depressed, because then that's going to affect the interpretation of the reading. It's probably going to be a lot more negative than had they just been able to chill for a second. And so again, I always say you could have a reading that is like, you're going to win the lottery, but if you don't buy the ticket, you're not going to win anything. And it's like, it could be a bad reading, but if you do the work and you know that you have to shift your mindsets and just pivot a little bit, then the entire interpretation of the reading can be off. So it's always like where you're at currently in this moment, because again, that's all we ever have. And then how one timeline could look if you continue doing what you're doing, good or bad. Does that make sense?
Yes, love that
Cool.
so much. Already, I feel my vibration is getting higher. I'm like,
Cool.
oh, I'm so excited just talking about it. Yeah, amazing. And then also, it should be noted, today is May 7th, 2020. What is significant about this day?
So today is a full moon in the sign of Scorpio. So for those who aren't like super versed in astrology, the moon changes sign every 2.5 days. So that's why you might feel super motivated on certain days and super not on other days. Usually like water moons can be very emotional. Fire moons, you feel very activated. So it's like just good knowing your moon cycles, just like women go through cycles, men also go through cycles, whether they want to admit it or not. So it's always like very much linked with the moon, and it has been since the beginning of time. So that's always good with the full moon, because it's literally when the moon is most full, sun is behind it and just lights up everything. So the moon is in charge of our subconscious, sheds light on people, situations, secrets. So that's why people use esoteric tools, but especially tarot, because you don't have to be an expert. You can just like pull a deck, play some cards and see what comes up.
Love that. I love that. I never really have made the connection before between the moons and how I'm feeling. And I don't know if this has to do with it, but like the last couple weeks, like I've been so high vibe and I've just been like getting so much work done and been like so motivated. And then like the last few days, I just felt like I hit a wall and my momentum stopped. And I was mentally like, okay, Camille, like, come on, like, like you went through this, like, but I really felt it and I couldn't really pinpoint it. And I'm like, is it what the world's going through right now? Is it getting to me? Am I losing motivation? But ultimately it's like, okay, like every day can't be like the best high vibe, high achievement.
1000%. I think that's like a common misperception of like spirituality. It's like, yeah, even if you're like vibing high, there are some days where it's just like going to be restrictive, and that's okay. It's not like you're going to be working out 24 hours a day at the gym. Like, you need time to rest, and so that's common in any circumstance, and then you can expand again, right? It's all about restriction. Ebbs and flows.
I feel like this is going to be timed so perfectly because the last few days, like since Sunday, it's what day is it now? It's Thursday. I've just like been feeling off, and I feel like this is going to just get me back on track. And then with there being a full moon, I'm just like so ready. So without further ado, can we go into the reading?
Of course.
I'm so excited. So is there anything that I need to think about as the person being read for, or do I just like hang out? Do you need me to say anything? Prompt?
I always recommend that the person like uncross any limbs, because some people are like cross-legged or crossing their body, so keep that. If you wanted to like light any candles or grab a notebook, I mean, we're recording this, but if you want to take any like little notes, that's always like the only real things I recommend.
Amazing.
Good. Sometimes cards flow, and that's a good thing. So also, last thing I'll ask, is there anything that you want specifically to know from this reading, or just more of a general reading?
I have been really career oriented lately. I've been taking a lot of changes, including starting a YouTube channel and starting a blog and trying to create new work for myself during this global pandemic where, you know, things aren't operating normally. I'm trying to create my own life and keep moving forward and staying creative. So I would love this reading to somehow be based in career, my momentum with that, my creative feelings right now. That's kind of what I've been most focused on lately. So I have a feeling that that's what's going to come through.
I'm obsessed with that. And also too, like, that's the best way to make money, is to be your own boss. And like, actors kind of are, but sometimes you're relying on other people. When you can like work anywhere with Wi-Fi and just create content on a phone, on a laptop, and be able to do that, be your own boss, that's, I mean, you're a Capricorn rising, so am I. So I just feel like we understand the hustle, the grind, and just like turning it out and making money, right?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, amazing. So I'm going to do a Celtic cross, which usually takes like a hot minute, but we're friends and I kind of like know your vibe already, so we can like work through the cards. It talks about like past, present, future, a lot of different like influences that are going to be coming up in the next 6 months to a year, and that's kind of like very timely for what we're working with anyway, timeline with what we currently know. All right, cool. So I would just be like open if you want to think thoughts about your career, where you want that to go. And also, do you want this just to be about your new work, or do you want to also incorporate acting as well?
I think acting is important too, because I've been wondering how that's going to make a comeback or not. Whatever that looks like, I don't really know.
Totally. Cool. So just like think about all that in general, and then I will channel your energy, and then we'll be good to go. Okay. Good. Okay, girl. This is good. Excellent. Okay, you're great. This is like a very, very positive reading. Okay, first of all, you had cards that fell out before the reading, so I'm just going to address those real quick. So we had the Strength card reversed, and the Five of Swords. So for the interest of time, I'm not going to go like into the background of like all the specific meanings. I'm going to go more of like an intuitive route with this reading, which is what I prefer anyway. So I'm not sure if you've been going through like some shifts in your life with like certain people or certain mindsets about letting things go, battling certain things, and like you against your ego or you against other people's ego where you feel the need to defend yourself. And now is the time just to take back your power. Again, with the Strength Arcana, this is all about internal confidence. When it's upright, we have that infinity symbol, and it's the 8th Arcana, which is all about infinite possibility, abundance, all the good things. And that's linked to your solar plexus. So taking power back with that. So if you feel ever like your power is being stifled, or people are trying to put you in a box, or people are trying to be like, you can never make it, why do you think you're trying to like do this and that? Like, who do you think you are? That's not you. That's their ego and projections. Like, you don't have to fight that battle. You can just walk away and being like, bye. And again, with yellow, like yellow crystal, citrine, citrine. And what's the other one I'm trying to think of? Anyway, like eating yellow fruits will be a cute mood. So papaya, banana, mango, turmeric. So if you ever feel like that, and again, Pluto, the planet of personal power, death, and transformation, is currently retrograde, and that's the planet that rules over Scorpio. So that might be why you might be feeling some of those things. So just a little side caveat before we get to the main reading. So first card up, we have the High Priestess reverse. This is your past, which is great. So with the High Priestess reverse, High Priestess is like a boss spiritual protection card. It's like a guardian angel always protecting you. And so with that card being present in general, just know that you've always been protected. You're always going to be protected. Like, your spirit team is on point, always surrounding you, always blessing you. It just might have felt like you had to, again, take extra precaution or really ground yourself or really protect yourself from outside influences or mindsets or past trauma that you were going through.
Yes, that
and
makes
like you've been
sense.
Yeah, you've been like sharing that a bit of like your personal story and what you've been going through, especially in the past year, like literally since I met you. So that's like very telling of like where you've been and now where you're going.
Yeah. I think this last year has been one of the most transformative years in my life. And I think that's also part of like this weird feeling. It's like this anniversary date of the day that I decided to change my life, which was also a day that I was actually suicidal. And I think that that's another thing that's been like stirring up in me lately. It's like, oh my God, it's May 3rd. It's all these weird things, but it was also this time where I decided to enroll in an on-camera acting class, and I met all of these amazing people, and you came into my life, and I started letting go of all of these old relationships and like ego stuff that wasn't serving me anymore. And slowly in the past, like literally in this exact last year, finally became aware of my ego and moving into my higher self. So like, I feel like that is so on point.
I love that. And like, so you're still very young. Like, if you care to reveal, how old are you?
So I just turned 23 in February.
Like, I didn't come into my spiritual journey really. Like, I was like, had faith, believed in certain things, but not really like law of attraction, ego, everything until I was 25. So when people like get ahead of the game before that, they're like ready, have so many more years to like train their mind, see the magic and all the good stuff. So like, I just feel like you're so much ahead of the game already.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So next card we have up, so like current circumstance, we have the Six of Swords, which is blessed, crossed with the Page of Cups, which is like very telling. So Six of Swords is literally talking about things are getting better. You're moving on. It might feel turbulent right now, but you're finding your footing, and it's like everything is happening perfectly. Also, it's like potentially short trips, or like in the next 6 months, like you could be traveling somewhere if you've been manifesting something. So that's also great. But also too, it could be for work or something very creative. So it's like, again, we all know commercials are like, we're flying you to Brazil, we're flying you to Cuba, we're flying you to Budapest to film this commercial or to film this gig. So it's like, manifest whatever you want. But the Page of Cups also talks about the potential for a new creative endeavor coming through. So it's like, that could also be collaboration or just like working with people from overseas in this new way of technology of being like, we're now going to be seeing this more prevalent in the next 6 months to a year for sure.
Love this. Love this. Because I've been thinking, I have never really had the urge to travel that much. And maybe it's reverse psychology with it being like, no flying, like stay put.
Right.
I've been wanting to travel more than ever. So I really like that. That excites me. And I definitely like in the past year, I've been wanting to go to LA. And I feel like as soon as this is over,
Yeah.
my next destination. I just have to go.
Totally. You have to like experience it. Like our mutual friend Lori, like just came back from LA a little while ago, like before everything, and she was like so inspired and like so radiant and attracted all this like prosperity and boushiness. I'm like, she knows.
Yes, yes. Lori's on
And
our
like,
level too.
and your first trip to LA does that. You're like, oh, especially being an artist or like an actor where you know it's kind of like where you feel connected, especially being spiritual. Like the West Coast vibe is like, yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
Okay, and like these next two cards are extremely fucking powerful. Oh, can I swear? I don't know.
Oh,
Like,
100%.
okay, I was like, I don't know how like PG this is gonna be. Anyway, these are like super fucking powerful cards. So we have subconscious and higher self. Subconscious, it's the best card in the entire deck, the Sun. And your higher self, we have the Lovers. So I don't know if you've been like manifesting a lover or like you've been thinking about love, or it could just be love of career and like what you're truly like excited about. Because I know you're a huge like vision boarder. You look up to like Reese Witherspoon, boss, icon, and like people like that. But it's also like lovers can mean physical love, like a person, or love for what you do. And with the Sun being subconscious, like whatever you're thinking right now, Camille, it's like these things are going to come through very quickly. So it's like always be very cognizant of your thoughts and your visualization techniques and like dream the world. And I know you know that, but it's like, given the past, it's like it's made you who you are for a reason to connect with certain people. And like we wouldn't be doing this right now had we not met and like you've gone through that whole journey, right? So it's like whatever you want, the Sun is like literally out of all 78 cards, it's the best card. It's the ultimate yes card. It's the ultimate like dreams come true. Things are gonna work out in your favor. So just like know that's like your subconscious being like, we got you, and then your higher self is like, whatever you want, it's yours.
Love, love, love. And I love that in so many ways because I used to be so like I've been on this new kick of like lead with love and like do things with love and love over fear. And like it sounds at in the past I would have thought that that was cheesy, and I'm like, what does that even mean? Like what even is love? Like I didn't have any connection to love. Like I had been in love, but I just view love in such a different way now, and I move through life trying to spread love and give love, and I've received so much more love in return, and I am in love right now, and I just feel like there's so much love in my life as like for career and for people. So I absolutely love that, especially considering like I used to be so closed off. Like I didn't even know what love was. I didn't love myself. Like my friendships all for the most part felt really surface level. I didn't even want like any physical love. Like I didn't want to be touched, hugged by people. Like I was so shut off from the world. So I love that card because I feel like I've just been like so much more focused on leading with love and carrying love wherever I go and giving love to people.
So good. And that again, it's just like positive affirmation that like all of that is what it should be. Like you're attracting everything that you're thinking, which is like further proof. And again, like we've talked about, there are of course days where it's like I just need to unplug and like sleep for 14 hours and I'm not going to make advancements, but it's like overall you're doing all the right things, and that's like coming through very clearly in this reading.
Love it.
Next card we have is the Five of Pentacles. So 5 in numerology talks about conflict, chaos, and change. So the 5s in tarot talk about a shift that just needs to happen. So just be very cognizant, even if things don't pick up right away, or it's like you feel like you're working a lot and like you're not seeing monetary or like the exact correlation right away. Don't let that get into your head, because a lot of times, like I know this now, having this business for a year, there were a couple months like January and February this year where it's like A, everything going on in the world, but B, I was like just working so much, grinding, producing content, trying to connect with people, and it was like nothing, and I'm like, whoa, like it was just so frustrating, and I'm like, fuck, I can't deal with any of it anymore, like just super dramatic. But then it all slowly shifts. So this is just like a warning. It's like have all the dreams and grandiose visions that you want for sure. But if it doesn't work out right away or like as you wanted to, just know the universe is like prepping you, setting that groundwork to build that moral fiber. Because again, it's not present. This is just a future outcome. So just knowing and being adaptable and flexible and knowing that you're serving people and just knowing even this video might help that one person. It's like that ripple effect. It's like helping one person help the entire collective. That's all going to bode very well for you. Because I know for me, sometimes I get in my head about like making money moves. It's like, yes, I made this much money today, this week, this month. And sometimes that dilutes you overall from like what is success. Is it money made, or is it helping people, or is it both? And just like making sure that's very clear in your head, and then you should be good to go.
Yeah, love that. That's so true. And it's something that I've had to get over in my own head. Like with starting the YouTube channel, for example, I'm like, oh, but I have no subscribers. Like I'm starting from zero. Like how long is it going to take?
Yeah, totally.
And then I'm like, no. It takes time. It takes consistency. It takes effort. It takes love. It takes passion. And I'm not going to see like some huge explosion right off the bat. So I've had to like use like what you just said and like mentally prepare myself, because I'm such like a high achiever. I always want the results. I want to see like, is it working? Am I doing it right? So I've had to like before diving into, you know, creating the YouTube channel, creating the blog, creating whatever business that I'm going to be creating, it's like, it's going to take time to figure out like what works for me, what works for my audience, and it's going to take patience and consistency. So I've had to constantly remind myself of that, especially if I post something and I'm like, oh, like no one even liked it. You know what I mean? I'm like, you know.
It's hard though, right? Because like all the algorithms are changing nonstop, especially on Instagram. So it's like you never actually know sometimes like what you should or shouldn't be doing in terms of like when or how or hashtags. It's like, put it out there with love.
Yes.
And you're good.
Yes. Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, this next card is also like pretty blessed, like the entire reading. So this is internal influences, like what's currently affecting you right now. And it's the Two of Cups, which is like partnerships, new relationships, collaborations. Like, again, you said you're like in love, feeling good, working with people. So again, this is just further affirmation of being very clear upon the types of people you want to work with and why. Like, who do you want to collaborate? What kind of people do you want to interview or do videos with or even like work with? Like, if you were to get your pick of the litter with any Hollywood actor or actress you could work with, like who would that be and why? Like these are all the things you want to get very clear on, like whose career do you emulate? And that way you're very clear on like the energy and the personas that you're channeling moving forward. And that way you're going to attract the people that's going to help support that moving forward.
Love that. I've been thinking a lot about that too. I'm like, what do I want my brand to be? Like, what do I want to share? And like exactly what you just said, like who can I emulate? And I'm looking at different like influencers, celebrities, bloggers, vloggers, and I'm like, what like clicks with me? Of course I want it to be my own message and my own story, but it's like there is so much benefit in looking at like what already inspires you and looking at why it inspires you and then being able to channel that. So I really love that card too, because that's totally something that I've been thinking a lot about.
And again, linking it with like the sun that you had before and the lovers, like that's just all very in line with like the current projection that you're on for like the next 6 months to a year, which is extremely powerful.
Love that.
Yep. And then the next card we have is like external influences, which is the Three of Swords. So I'm not sure if you had like a past love or just like past friendships that you're letting go and healing, but it's like, again, with the full moon, it's the perfect time to like release and heal. And I always say, even though it's easier said than done, to always wish people that hurt you, like just wish them love. It's like, you don't know what's going on in their life, and holding on to this resentment is just holding on to like a hot coal that's not really serving you. It's like, I want you to pay and I like want that karmic retribution. It's like, they just see you holding a hot coal, burning yourself, and they're like, cool, bye. Like, it's not helping, whereas it's easier to like drop that coal, wish them like, well, even if it's like, they don't necessarily deserve it, but you're not holding on to that resentment anymore. So then you can just like let it go and then make room for more love, more opportunity moving forward. So it's like, keep doing that work of just like releasing, especially tonight, the next few days of being like, this isn't meant for me. I'm just going to let it all go. And then I can move forward to attract even bigger and better opportunities.
Literally love that. Honestly, just like, again, it's like this 1 year cycle that I've been in where like
Yeah.
so many things shifted, a million different relationships, a million different personal views, friendships, whatever. And I actually had a situation a couple weeks ago where somebody messaged me something and it was just like really unpleasant. And I was like, oh, like this is why we aren't friends anymore. And it was really hurtful. And I felt like I'd grown so much because at first I literally cried instantly. Like it just,
Pisces vibe.
I was like, that's so mean. I just like immediately cried. And then I got mad because I was like, fuck you. And then I was like into my third stage and it happened really fast. Like
Right.
I feel like I moved through it so quickly. Whereas like before, like I just would have like dwelled on it or like held the hot coal or whatever. But like pretty much within the hour, within like 20 minutes, I had already moved on to love. I'm like, okay, they said something hurtful to me. It's a projection of whatever is going on in themselves. Like, I can't take it personally. And I can only wish that person love if, like, they are feeling that way that is like so poorly about themselves that they need to like project that onto other people and like try to bring other people down. I'm like, I'm sorry for you. Like, and
Yeah.
I sent them love instead. I'm like, okay, like no sadness, no anger. Love is the only thing. And I let go of the hot coal, as you said. And
Boom.
it's not going to help me. Like, it really, I felt so good after. I'm like, this
Yes,
is like
always.
a release to
Yeah.
just send love regardless.
Because there's so much like research too and studies about how when people harbor this like resentment or jealousy or hurt or like playing that victim, because it's really easy to play a victim of like, I was wronged by so-and-so or I didn't have a childhood or that's a whole other talk. But it's like you attract disease, you attract cancer, you attract all this stuff, right? So it really doesn't benefit you to hold on to all of this. Even if they did wrong you, you still attracted that person into your life at some point for a reason. So there's still a mirror of you that you had to learn from or they had to learn from you, right? So it's like at some point in your life you attracted that person for a reason and it takes time. Like moon cycles are very good, like 6 month periods to recess and reevaluate. So it's like 2 6 month periods or 12 months, which again is like where we are now from when we first met and when you started this like huge journey. So it's like the proof is in the pudding. You've already seen it firsthand about how these cycles really can shape your life for the better or for the worse, because then people can continually repeat these cycles and go downward. So it's always up to us to choose.
Yeah, 100%. I love that so much.
Yeah. Cool. The next card is like it's funny too. And I'll send you a picture to like see the entire spread. So this is like hopes and dreams card, but it's the 7 of Pentacles reversed, which is like, it's literally right beside the 5 of Pentacles. So again, it's like just sitting with your subconscious and being like, why is it that I want fame? Why is it that I want success? Like, why is it so much that I need it right now? If I were to be given $100,000, $1 million right now, what would I actually do with that money to make my life better? And it's always like, am I able to pay my bills, have groceries, have some luxury? If all that is yes, and it's like you're ahead of 99% of the world. And so it's like using that money to further educate yourself, get organic food, do whatever. Like I saw a post, I think it was a few weeks ago, that you're investing in education, like different courses to level yourself up so you can serve the collective or your audience better, which makes sense. But a lot of people, they're like multimillionaires. So I have different friends or clients that are very well off, but they're always like, I don't have enough. I don't have enough. I'm not saying that's you, but subconsciously there might be like, I came from nothing, or I grew up like with very little money. So I'm always afraid of not having enough. So I always have to work hard. And it's like, where's the money? I'm doing all the work. So it's like breaking that subconscious pattern, being like, I know I'm supported. I know I have enough. I'm extremely grateful that I'm where I'm at. And like living in Toronto, like pretty much a central location where it's like you're close to transit, always like doing that. And then you'll bring in more wealth already. But since you do have like these two like money cards with regards to like patience kind of like right next to each other, it's just something to be cognizant of.
Love that, because that's something I've really, like, I made a post about it, about investing in myself and taking a course. And it's like, that's something, again, a year ago, I like doing the on-camera acting class was a big step, because I was like,
Totally.
well, that's too big of an investment, which like seems crazy to me now, but I had so much scarcity mindset around money, and I was scared to spend money because I came from a really poor childhood and I never had enough money, and I moved to Toronto with nothing. And I was like, I had to borrow money to get here. And it was like, even though I was making enough money, like you said, to like buy groceries and like occasionally have luxuries and invest in myself, it's like, if you're still stuck in that scarcity mindset of like fear of money, fear of spending money, then it doesn't even matter how much money you have. But it's like,
Exactly.
since I've started like feeling grateful for money, feeling grateful for what I have, feeling abundant, even though the actual amount in my bank account hasn't changed that much, like it has, it's been growing. And also just like how I feel about things has shifted so much that I feel like I'm just going to continue to attract more wealth and prosperity and abundance into my life. And it's been like a huge game changer to me. Like I
Huge.
used to be so, I just had the worst relationship with money. So
It's hard.
that's something I'm actively working on too. So I love that.
And a lot of people like deal with it like, again, we're all victims of victims. Like our parents learned from their parents, and our
Right.
parents were like the baby boomers, right? And then their parents were in the war. So it's like they learned, especially if like, I don't know if you are, but I'm like a child of immigrants where it's like they came to Canada with nothing. And so they're always like in that mindset of like save, 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 save. It's like don't spend money on that. If people are doing that, they're like not being responsible. So it's like breaking these mindsets that are like generational, not just, oh, I don't know why I think that, or it's like, oh, I had a bad day. It's like these have been hardwired into you for like decades. However, I truly believe our soul comes into this lifetime to live a human experience, and it signs contracts to be like, nope, I'm choosing this family to help break generational curses or to help achieve X, Y, and Z so that I can do this, or else you wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here right now having this conversation. That's
Right.
what I believe. I know it can be like a little woo-woo for some, but I believe that
I
we
love
choose
it.
our bodies, our appearance, our like objectives that we want to accomplish in career before we even are born.
I love that. And it's so true. And it's you can decide any moment. Like you can live your parents' life or you can break a cycle and you can start your own life. Like it's crazy how much subconsciously we think we need to be like our parents, but if you really think about it, it's like that doesn't make sense. Like they're them and I'm me, and I don't have to live in the same circumstances or have the same job or the same outlook on life. And once you realize that, it is so empowering, like so empowering. And I love my parents like so much, like great,
Of course.
you know, like so much love for them, but it's like I don't have to live the life that they've lived. I can create an even better life for myself and in turn like give back to them and thank them. I always tell my mom that I'm like, I'm gonna like take care of you and I'm gonna look after you. Like she made so many sacrifices growing up for our family, and it's like I don't ever want you to have to worry about stuff like that
Exactly.
again. So yeah, I love that.
And it's also too like everyone has a choice. You're not stuck anywhere. It's like you don't have to stay living in X, Y, and Z. It's like also too, I'm sure you get all the time. It's like, oh, I wish I could be an actor. You're so lucky. It's like you can. It's like I always tell people, I'm like, here are the headshot photographers. Here are the best classes.
Yes.
Here are great agents for like starting out. And they're like, oh, and they just like slink back. I'm like, again, it's like it takes active work daily. It's not just something that you happened upon. Like you've been working extremely hard for the past year. Never mind your entire childhood, right? And like early adulthood. So it's like it is the work, but even like doing this video now, like the editing, taking the time to connect, hearing all this, like it's all work. And then taking time to be like proud of yourself that you actually showed up for yourself, did the work, and that you're seeing progress. A lot of people don't give themselves like that divine feminine pat on the back chance to just chill the fuck out and being like, I did that and I'm proud of myself and now I know I can achieve more in the future.
Yes, love that too. I love that. And I love what you said about you can do that. And I was actually, again, I feel like we're so on the same level. I was thinking this yesterday. I was walking and I was listening to a podcast, and the speaker was talking about Martin Luther King Jr. And he was like, you know, he said, like, I had a dream. And it's the fact that he was a person like anyone else. Like, we all have the same ability. Like whether or not you believe you do is just a matter of if like how many limiting beliefs you have. But it's like we're all humans and we can all have dreams, and if you want you can make them a reality. And I think that's like a big part of my mission that I want to show people. It's because like I didn't used to believe that. Like I had so
Right.
many limiting beliefs, and I thought that I had to like look a certain way or like be a certain way or learn a certain amount before I was successful or worthy or could do XYZ. But it's like, you are enough, you have enough, we all are humans. Like, there's really no difference between like you and Oprah. It's just like, who wants it more, who has the dream, who's gonna go for it, who like will overcome their limiting beliefs. So I think that's like another big part of my mission too, to share with people. So like, love that so much.
Also, for everyone that needs inspiration, speaking of Queen Oprah, everyone needs to like listen to her like 2 series like podcasts about where she talks about her life, her upbringing. Like, if you think your life is hard, everyone has struggled. I'm not saying it's not, but it's like, listen to her backstory and like everything from like childhood, like baby, all the way to where she is now, and it'll blow your mind. Especially the fact like how she got her part for The Color Purple. Especially being an actor, you're like, oh my gosh, like Oprah did that. So side caveat for anyone who needs inspiration, like listen to her story. No matter how much you think you know, it's like you've heard it. It's like the best.
Yeah, love that. So amazing.
And that brings us to our next card, which is the Queen of Swords. So the Queen of Swords, again, men can have queen energy and vice versa. It's not gender specific, but Queen of Swords energy is someone who like sets very clear boundaries. I know we've talked about that with like your personal relationships, expectations with money, goals, mindsets. Swords are all about air energy. And spoiler alert, we're moving into Gemini season very shortly, where a lot of the energies across all the planets are going to be air based. So everything that we think, everything that we speak, because words are spells, witches have been around for a long time, kids. It's no secret as what you speak into this world, that's what you're bringing in. We all love the whole poor artist, whoa, stereotype. People are like, I'm a struggling artist. And it's like, of course you are, because you literally just said it out loud.
Right.
Why else would you be, right? So it's like being very clear with your mind, very clear with your thoughts, and being very firm with any boundaries you set for yourself. So that means with people, with your time, if you know that a certain day is meant for rest and you're like, well, no, I just want to do like one click update or like do some networking. It's like, nope, you set that boundary to have that day for rest. Don't go back on yourself. Because again, rest is all about receiving. It's that divine feminine. So if we don't know how to rest, if we don't know how to listen to our body, how are we supposed to receive more love, more money, more opportunity? Because we're just working. You can't be in the same frequency to work and to receive it. Physically doesn't make sense. It's always like the old analogy of you don't build muscle when you're at the gym, you build muscle when you rest. You're literally tearing your muscle apart at the gym, and then you build it when you eat well, drink all the nutrients and water, and rest, right? So that's very much like what I see for you is like, this is all going to be a lot, because it always is, A, when you first start a business, knowing from me for the past year, and B, when things start picking up and you start getting really good momentum, it's just like work, especially since you and I are both water, sun, Capricorn rising. It's like, I get it. It's like, yes, but it's also equally as important, if not more important in our society, to understand and value the rest.
Yes. I love that. I love that because since the whole lockdown, shutdown, quarantine, whatever you want to call it, I have found a new level of rest that terrified me. And I made a long post about this too, because I was like so addicted to being busy and being on the go and like hustling. And as soon as, everyone said, okay, no, stop, like don't go outside, don't do any of that. And before I had like even like the little like business that I'm now starting, it's like
not little, don't like limit it by any words.
True. Giant, influential business.
Exactly.
It was this total fear of rest, because I'm like, if I'm resting, I'm not doing, and if I'm not doing, I'm not growing. But it's like you said, it's like the growth happens in the recovery. Like, you have to give yourself that space and time. And I have like just continuously looked for blessings in this pandemic, and that is one of them, is that like for the first time in my life, I've actually recognized and realized what true rest is and what it feels like. And it's so different to what I thought it was. But like, it's just like a blessing in disguise. It's like being forced to stay inside has just like made me look inwards and be like,
yes,
like how, like in what ways can I not let this like limit me and like depress me and make me feel awful. It's like, how can I like enjoy rest, like relish in rest, and allow it to further me, to propel
Yeah.
me forward.
Yeah, totally. I love all of that. It's always like, just from personal experience, it's always like when I'm like networking and connecting with followers or like creating content, I'm like, okay, like where are the like followers back? Where are the messages? And it's always when I'm just like, okay, like I'm just gonna chill. People like, oh, do you have time for reading? Oh, can we book? Like when you free? I'm like, it's just always the situation. Always.
Yep. Yeah, it's like pushing too hard can create resistance. As soon as you back off, it comes to you. As soon as you're just open, always.
Always. So yeah, that's the reading. And again, like I said, I'll send you a little photo, but do you have any questions, or do you want me to go over anything, or how are you feeling? There's a lot.
I'm feeling amazing. I feel like everything was super on point. I feel like the intention that we set at the beginning, like what to focus on with career, is exactly what came through. And I'm honestly like, as soon as we got on the call, like my vibration started to elevate and I started feeling better, and I'm feeling like even more amazing now. Can't even tell you how many times throughout that I just like got goosebumps, and I'm so excited. Like I feel like you have so much knowledge and wisdom, and I'm so excited to share your message with the world. And you're just such a person who I admire, and we had a really powerful conversation. In when was it? Maybe November or December. I helped you with the self.
I think it was December, like right before the holidays.
Yeah, and I came over and you said things to me that I like won't forget, and you made me realize that I had a lot of limiting beliefs about my health, because this is something I've worked on so much since our conversation, actually.
Right.
I believed that because I had an eating disorder that I could never be healthy again, that I could never have a good relationship to food and my body ever again. And you like were so blunt. You just looked at me. You're like, yeah, you can like eat good food and work out. And I was like, I can't. And then I just realized after that conversation, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have so much work to do in this area. So like I'm so blessed to like have had that conversation with you, and to have had you come into my life and to give me this beautiful reading. And I'm just so excited to share more of your message and your story with my followers as well, because I feel like a lot of people who follow me will resonate with this kind of stuff, because like
Totally.
I talk a lot about spirituality and manifestation and limiting beliefs and dreaming big. So I'm so excited to share with my audience. Where can they connect with you? What kind of platforms are you on, and what other services do you do? Do you just do tarot card readings, or what other kinds of things can you specialize in?
Yeah, so I'm like pretty like fucking woo-woo. I just like, once I went down that rabbit hole, I'm like, whoop, and I'm gone. And so it's always good to like, with being an actor, sometimes it's like nothing's coming through. And like right now, it's like we don't know what the future is going to look like per se indefinitely, right? So it's always good to have something that you're passionate about. So just like we talked about, so if you put the work in one area, and then when you focus your attention on something else, then that's when that can like percolate and grow and manifest. So I just like love spirituality, like very that. Also love astrology. So I'm like very obviously like dropped some references with that, but like natal chart readings. I'm now doing annual perfection. So every year everyone has a certain house in their natal chart that's activated. And you also have like a time lord, which means there's a planet that's kind of like your guardian who's protecting you and guiding you that entire year of your life. And it's going to be different for every single person based on their natal chart. So like I'm in a 5th year perfection house, and Venus is my time lord, and Venus right now is in Gemini, which is like my 6th house of like new jobs, not necessarily career, but new opportunities to connect. And I'm like, even this is like a great collaboration. I'm connecting with like other spiritual people and doing other services. And like right now I'm working with a Gemini who's called the Gemini Guide. Hello. And doing like surviving and thriving in retrograde season, because it already started with Pluto, who went to retrograde at the end of April. And now next week we have Jupiter, Saturn, and Venus all going into retrograde. So it is going to be a really intense time, because I predict it's already happening in certain parts of Canada and the world. But for Toronto, I believe by the end of May, everything is slowly going to start getting better. It's because Mars is going into Pisces next week. And that Mars-Saturn conjunction that was really harsh ever since this quarantine was in full effect is now going to be separate. So a lot of terminology, but it's a lot of good stuff. So all about like astrology, tarot, life coaching, and just helping people unearth their limiting beliefs and holding them accountable. Because like you said, sometimes you need to listen to people because what they're going through is valid, but then you also need to like hold the mirror back up and send that tough love and be like, listen, this is all in your head. You always have a choice, but you have to put in the work.
Yeah.
And so that's what I do across all platforms. So like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And I also have a Patreon account where it has like exclusive content where I don't post anywhere. It's like intuitive downloads that I guess I share them with my following and offer online new moon and full moon workshops just to like have more spiritual tools to help people level up. Across all platforms, it's just still Water Alchemy.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Easy peasy. I just want to thank you so much and honor you for being here. I really appreciate it. For everyone who's watching right now, please let me know in the comments if you learned anything, and be sure to follow Mathew across all platforms at Stillwater Alchemy. He has so many amazing posts, content, sharings, teachings, and daily inspiration. You will definitely not regret it. And of course, like, comment, and subscribe, and share with your friends. I appreciate you all so much and love you.
Happy full moon!